Good morning, students. Welcome you all. Today in commerce, we are going to start our fourth chapter, banking latest trends. You all will be familiar with these banking terms which are commonly used nowadays. These terms are RTGS, NEFT. You might have heard these terms, but what does the meaning of these terms? Firstly, let us take RTGS. What is RTGS? RTGS means real time gross settlement. Its full form is real time gross settlement. RTGS is a method in which the funds are transferred from one bank to another on a real time basis or a gross time basis. What does real time means? It means whenever the transaction is occurred, it is being processed. Real time, no waiting period. Real time means that there is no waiting period. The sender does not have to wait for a certain period of time. As soon as he processed the transaction, it is being settled. RTGS is considered as one of the fastest system of transferring the money in the banking system. In RTGS, but for providing the RTGS, the banks should be CBS enabled bank branch. What is CBS? CBS means core banking solution. It means when only those transactions which are core banking solution enabled are eligible for conducting the RTGS transfers. So it means the sender and the receiver, both the branches are required to be CBS enabled bank branch. There is a limit on the amount of money to be transferred. The minimum amount limit is 2 lakh, but for the upper limit there is no, for the upper side there is no limit for the RTGS transaction. It means an individual can make a transfer of minimum 2 lakh with the help of RTGS, and maximum amount can go to any limit considering their bank limit. Okay, next, the bank charges certain amount of commission as their service charge from the customers who are sending the money. The bank charges are applied on the outward transaction. What does mean outward transaction? Outward transaction means the person who is sending the money have to pay the service charge, but the person who is receiving the money does not require to pay any service charge on the amount being received through the RTGS. And the transfer of RTGS is final and irrevocable. Irrevocable means which cannot be revoked or which cannot be turned back. Once the transfer is done, it means the actual amount of money is being transferred. It cannot be denied or it cannot be cancelled anytime. The next very common term is NEFT. NEFT means National Electronic Fund Transfer. The full form of NEFT is National Electronic Fund Transfer. It is also a country-wide system. Country-wide system means it is enabled within India only. Okay, by which an individual firm or a company can electronically transfer the funds from any bank branch to another individual firm having an account with any other bank branch in the country. It does not require that both the parties should have the account in the same branch, in the same bank having different branches. It does not require any such compulsion, but there should be an account for receiving the amount of money. This point is very important, that for receiving the money through NEFT, the person or the individual should have an account in the bank. NEFT transactions are settled in batches. Batches mean slot time period. Whenever the NEFT transactions are being processed, they are being settled in batches. But in the RTGS, the transactions are being settled on a real time basis. It means whenever they are processed, they are being settled down. But in NEFT, they are being processed in a particular slots. During weekdays, Monday to Friday, these transactions are settled in 7 batches, which may start from 8 a.m. in the morning till 7 p.m. in the evening. And on Saturday, transaction take place in 6 batches from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. there are certain features for the NEFT transactions. For the NEFT transfer, both the branch should be NEFT enabled bank branch. Very important point. It means the sending bank and the receiving amount bank both should have the NEFT facility with their banks. Second, in order to receive the funds, as I have already told you, for receiving the funds, the individual firm or a company must have the account with the NEFT enabled branch. But for receiving, it is a compulsion to have a bank account. But for sending the money, there is no compulsion to have a bank account with the NEFT enabled bank branch. In that case, if one is not having any bank account with the NEFT enabled bank branch, in that case the maximum amount of money that can be sent by the person or the firm or a company is 49,999. Next, there is no minimum or maximum amount of limit that can be transferred through NEFT transfer. One has a bank account. If he is not having the bank account, he can transfer only 49,999. But if he is having a bank account, there is no limit for sending amount of money through the NEFT facility. NEFT cannot be used to receive the foreign remittance. Foreign remittance means, as the first line we have read, that NEFT is a country-wide system. Country-wide system means operated within the country. Therefore, we cannot use NEFT facility for receiving any foreign amount. And again, the last point, same as RTGS, the sender of funds have to pay the NEFT charges, but the receiver of funds has to pay no charges. Same as RTGS, who is sending the money has to pay service charges, but the person who is receiving the money, there is no compulsion or there are no charges being applied on him. Next, there are certain differences between the NEFT and RTGS. First is processing time. Processing time means NEFT transactions are settled in batches or the slotted, that is from 8 AM to 7 PM. But in the case of RTGS, the amounts are settled or the transactions are settled on the real time basis. It means whenever the transaction is being processed, they are being settled. We use the word individually and continuously. They are not being piled up for a certain time period or for a certain slot. They are being settled on continuous basis. Minimum transaction value. There is no minimum or maximum limit on the transaction. No minimum. There is no limit for the transaction done through the NEFT. But in case of RTGS, maximum amount limit is 2 lakh. Minimum amount limit is 2 lakh. Sorry, not maximum. Minimum amount limit is 2 lakh. Maximum no limit. Settlement time. In case of NEFT, the amounts are being settled on half-hourly basis. Half-hourly basis. The slots are being made in that manner that after every half an hour, the transactions are being settled. But in case of RTGS, they are being settled on real-time basis. So this was NEFT and RTGS and the difference between these two terms.